Hey YouTube, this is Scarecrow Kaiser. I'm going to be doing a deck profile for you. Been waiting for set 15 for a while. Has my favorite unit in it. Those of you who have known me for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of the big guy and all his various decks and stuff, and I've done very well playing Gigantic Overlord decks in major tournaments and stuff. So this is going to be a profile for the end Breakride. But yeah, I'm gonna just do it right now. So, getting started. Starting Vanguard. Like most people, my starting choice for this deck is Pulse Red. He's basically just to make the deck consistent. He helps a lot in this deck, being able to dig for more the ends, so that you can Persona Blast and making sure you don't misride and stuff. There's like a finesse you have to play around with this card to make it work correctly. You can't just do it. You have to be counting like the order of your cards that's coming out, and when you have a high chance of hitting it when you activate its effect. Yeah. Downside, he's 4K. Once you get to like grade 3, it's not that big a deal. But early game, his 4K boost is almost irrelevant. But yeah. So, for our triggers, we got 6 crit, 6 draw, and 4 heal. I don't typically, in a lot of decks, like a 6 draw, 6 crit ratio, but in the end, it works very well because it lets you dig through your deck and get to your Persona Blast and stuff. There can be issues with it, but it's what I prefer or found works best. When it comes to the draw triggers, the Seal Dragon one is the best draw trigger that exists for Kagero. His effect is just really, really good. Gatling Claw is okay. You don't get to use him like almost ever, but it's better to have like an optional shoot your guy than to not. So no vanillas, just options. But the Seal Dragon one is really good. For our grade 1s, we have our 4 perfects. Doesn't matter which one. Bari I prefer, just because he's classic. Then 4 Eternal Bringer Griffin. Blech. This card is really freaking cool. I'm a big fan of this card. It just thins the deck. You discard Overlord, search for Overlord. It makes you sure you like always get to have the Breakride, as well as it combos with other cards in the deck by dropping Overlords into the graveyard, so that you can use like Burnout and stuff. The card's really cool. It just helps thin the deck, and it's a good boost, and I really like this card. It also shuffles the deck. That's kind of important too. Then we got 3 of this guy. He's our 10k if you have an Overlord. He's okay. You don't really get to utilize him till turn 3, but he's still a pretty decent card. Usually in decks, I like to run 4 of these kind of cards, but in this deck, I only like 3. And then for our last grade 1, we got 3 Bar. Originally, I didn't plan on playing Bar. I was playing Gojo, but I found I didn't need Gojo as much because of the starter and the Griffin. The deck seems to be working just fine. And with Bar, I could make my Vanguard column 21. So, and with like other cards, he makes like rearguard columns easily, like good numbers. Like he lets me hit Breakrides pretty easily. So that's why we chose him. On to the grade 2s. We got 4 Burning Horn. He's our 12k attacker. We all know why these are good. They just get in there. Then we got our 4 Dragonic Burnout. This card is really freaking cool. For no counterblast, just a Soul Blast of 1, which is like nothing, and putting an Overlord from the grave into back to the deck at the bottom. You have to shoot their card. He's really freaking cool, and Griffin sets him up for using his effect. Yeah, and it's also always cool to put the end back in your deck, and then use like a Griffin or something to shuffle the deck. So, yeah, really like this card. And then for my last grade 2, I chose to play 3 10Ks. I prefer Garp just because I think Garp is really freaking cool. But yeah, so I put a lot of debate and thought and experimentation into what I wanted my 3rd grade 2 to be. And ultimately, I came to the conclusion just to play 10Ks. I wanted to play Corduroy because running 4 Corduroy and Burnout is awesome because you're constantly sniping rear guards, but it didn't leave enough counterblast for the Overlords, and trying to manage the damage with like Bellicosity and other stuff, it was all just too much. It wasn't working, so I went to the 10K just because it didn't involve counterblast, but it was still a hitter. So yeah, I wanted to try and play something a little bit better than a 10K, but it just didn't work out, so I've concluded to just play 3 10Ks. For the grade 3s, which is pretty obvious what they should be, we got our 4 Breakride. I really, really love this card. As I've said, and as people who've known me a while know, this is my favorite unit in the game. I love that they keep remaking him, and that he's always so good. I love playing Dragonic Overlord, and this card is just really, really cool. I'm very happy that this card exists. And then, obviously, 4 of the End, because this is the End deck. Yeah, he works very well in combination with the Breakride. You play a little bit differently than how you would play like Rebirth and stuff, but you wait your setup, you do your Breakride, you can swing 23 at a rear guard. Your opponent, they don't know how, your opponent basically will have to like no guard, because whether you have the Personal Blast in hand or not, you would be able to use the Breakride skill. And then but like if you swing, the way I like to play it is swing at rear guard. If they don't guard it, and it hits, which they almost always do, that's when I usually choose to do my Persona Blast to make sure I got it off. Swing at the other rear guard, do the Breakride skill, and then swing again at the Vanguard. It doesn't put as much pressure on the Vanguard. However, it pops off 2 rear guards for +2, as well as you end up doing 6 drive checks. It's more of an advantage play than a go for game play, but it works really well. And then the rest of the game you're sitting on this 13K body. You no longer are restricted by limit break, which is another thing. Like, you almost never have to ride the End before you ride regular because of Griffin and stuff. But if you do have to ride the End first, there are worse things you could ride before riding a Breakride than the End, especially since he's not a limit break. So yeah, I really, really enjoy playing this deck. It's a lot of fun, and it's a pretty good deck. Yeah, thank you for watching.